mere nobody like me isn't important enough to answer that. But if you guys were exceptional enough to identify that scrap of paper, you can figure this out easily.
The scrap of paper stuck on the Bartol light was part of what we found in the storage room. Must be. Is it connected to the sudden appearance of Kyoko's body? Well, of course it is, otherwise that piece shouldn't be there, no? If it is back from here, the answer should become clearer. Alright, let's give it a try. Okay, let's do this. Oh no, logic dive, no, I hate this minigame. Okay, let's do this then. Okay, for now it was easy, nice. Why did Kyoko body suddenly appears in the crime scene? I'm pretty sure because he was hidden. Okay, it was right, perfect. What did the killer use for the body? Pretty sure that they used the wallpaper that was in the storage room. Alright, this is right too. Perfect. Okay, now the last question. Okay, after resetting that point, I did it. How did the killer hide the body with the wallpaper? We sure they covered the pillar. That's the thing that I could use for that. So, yes, it was right. Nice. Okay, finally finish this freaking minigame. Nice.
It's all coming together! Got it! Kyoko's body was hidden before we found it.
But it would have taken quite a long time to tape up a hidden body.
No, the body was already taped up and the killer hid it, along with the pillar using the wallpaper.
What? They hid the pillar?
Yeah, by wrapping the wallpaper around the pillar, the killer was able to create a slightly larger pillar. So when I first discovered Ibuki's body, Kyoko's body was already there. However, because it was concealed within a slightly larger pillar, I didn't realize that at the time. Well, that's understandable. I mean, it makes sense that you'd notice Ibuki's body right away.
So they used the baton lighting on the ceiling to hang the wallpaper?
The baton lighting forms a perfect circle around the pillar, so using it to hang the wallpaper totally fits.
Then, the reason the wallpaper was covered in so many stickers was to make it look like that pillar.
That's how they hid Hyoko's body, and then peeled off the wallpaper as soon as I left the music venue.
But the killer made a mistake. They accidentally ripped off a piece of the wallpaper. And because of that, a scrap was left on the baton lighting.
The killer must have been in a hurry. If their plan took too long, Hajime could have walked in on them.
But going to the trouble of hiding the body and the pillar is very bold and risky.
But the crime itself would be much easier to pull off since they don't have much to do while Hajime's gone. They just have to peel off that wallpaper and stash it in the storage room. It's not that big of a deal.
Then, when was Hiyoko actually killed?
The main question there.
Good point. And on that note, it's about time we shed some light on those imitation murders.
You mentioned imitation murder more than once. But what is that?
Are you kidding me? You haven't seen my masterpiece? The Wizard of Monami 2.5D?
Hey! Don't put my likeness in your movies without my permission.
You're pretty noisy for someone who eats mothballs.
I don't eat mothballs. I just enjoy looking at them.
Okay, Usami.
I knew it! There are so many similarities. It must have been intentional.
Ibuki's death by hanging matches the Scarecrow's death from the movie. Not just that, but Hiyoko getting taped up after her death matches the lion's death.
It's as if both crimes were replicas of scenes from the movie, although the mutilated Tin Man was omitted.
But why did the killer go to all this trouble in the first place?
Based on what we know, the reason the killer chose these imitations isn't that difficult to figure out.
The reason the killer intended to victim in the movie, I should be able to explain that now. Okay, I think it was for example the killing order, something like that.
I see! The reason the killer imitated two of the murders from the movie was so he'd mix up the killing order.
Then, Hiyoko was actually killed before Ibuki?
A valid line of reasoning.
Yeah, it's valid. The condition of Ibuki's body suggests that as well.
What do you mean? If you're going to cry and beg like that, then I guess I'll hear about the condition of Ibuki's body.
I'm not even crying.
I'll let you sob as much as you want later. Just hurry up and tell me before I change my mind.
Okay, they're goddamn chill.
What a jerk!
Oh, I see. You want me to explain it to you, right? Because you don't understand what I'm saying, right?
An even bigger jerk? Impossible!
Look, Ibuki died because she hanged herself, right? That means when she was still alive, her feet were touching the floor.
What's wrong with that?
But it seems Ibuki was still standing when Hiyoko was killed. That would mean Hiyoko was killed before Ibuki.
How light. Your words are so light as the sylph's feather. Your opponent is out of your league. It is too absurd to try to perplex me so inadequately.
Man, he's being annoying again.
Nah, just kinda being himself.
First and foremost, you claim Ibuki's feet were touching the floor when Hiyoko was killed. How can a low-class creature with no psychic abilities like you know something like that?
Because she was doing something that's only possible if her feet were on the floor.
It seems you suffer from a pathetic delusion.
You're one to talk!
Anyway, if this continues, we're just gonna talk in circles. Yeah, true, especially with Gundam, Alpine Gundam. I think it specific already Yuki's status when Hyuga was killed. Fair. Okay, let's do this argument then.
When Hyoko died, Ibuki's feet were on the floor.
I am telling you to present your evidence.
Did you see her walking?
If her feet were on the floor, was there any sign she stepped on something? Were there even any footprints at the crime scene?
Maybe her feet were on the floor. But she was like sitting or something. So instead, there'd be a mark on her ass!
Weak, 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 I say! It doesn't even pierce my heart!
Okay, Gundam, you're not Rengoku. She said Ibuki was still standing when Hyuga was killed, but... is that really true? Of course it is, and I have evidence of that.
Hyoko died. Ibuki's feet were on.
I am telling you to present. Did you see her walk?
If her feet were on the floor, was there any sign?
She stepped on something?
I agree with that. Just as Sonia said, Ibuki stepped on something. That something was blood. There were faint blood stains on the soles of her slippers.
That is not Ibuki's blood, right? She suffered no external injuries.
Then it's Hyoko's blood!
Hyoko's only wound was a fatal slice on her neck. And she died almost instantly, right?
If Ibuki stepped on her blood...
It means Ibuki was still standing when Hyoko was mortally wounded. Which means Ibuki was still alive at the exact moment Hyoko was killed.
Don't underestimate the power of the evil eye!
Okay there, Gundam.
Is that it? A shepherd dressed in his Sunday's finest still reeks of lamb, Hajime Hinata.
Does that mean you have a rebuttal?
Does that mean you have a rebuttal? That's a good line. But, are you sure you're sure? If I show you how serious I am, this world might be destroyed, you know.
Yeah, I kinda doubt about that, Gundam.
You're so frightened you can't even make a sound. It seems you've realized our difference in status. However, the time for conviction starts now. You better entertain me to the fullest.
Okay, then let's do this against him this time. Let's see what I can do with this rebuttal sword and know how they discard this game.
You're saying the blood on Ibuki's feet belonged to Hyoko? Ha! Impossible! Try to remember the crime scene. There was no blood on the floor. You can't step on blood that was never there. Just about 1 minute. Did you see a nice nightmare?
Yeah, I was recently going to this minigame, but okay. Despite the exchanges photos, I feel like I've already seen an opening to counter. Is this a trap?
You're saying the blood on Ibuki's feet belonged to Hyoko? Ha! Impossible! Try to remember the crime scene. There was no blood on the floor.
Allow me to cut through those words! That's not it. The reason there was no blood on the floor is because the killer wiped it away afterward.
Don't say such foolish things! You don't have proof of that at all!
Yes, I do. If you look closely, there's a streak on the floor where blood was wiped away.
When the killer tried to hide Hyoko's body, they probably cleaned the blood at the same time, but Ibuki must have already stepped in it, and the killer probably didn't even realize it.
The reason they wiped off the blood on the floor was so we'd mix up the order of the murders, right? Even if they're able to hide Hiyoko's body, it'd be bad if her blood was left out in the open.
Plus, Ibuki's body was left out in the open, and it wasn't bleeding from any open wounds at all.
Hyoko's body was probably wrapped in duct tape to stop her bleeding. Actually, the bleeding will stop once the heart stops beating, so I don't think they had to go that far.
Aside from Mikon, none of us were aware of that fact, so the killer probably did not know it either.